Good people, thank you for joining us once again. This is episode 7 of The Base Never Die. I am your host, Khanya Mosetlhi. Today I'm joined by a first-time appearance for Thabani. We've got Lesiba Mohlala, a Liverpool fan. We've got Mvu and we've got Rindai once again. First of all, Thabani, please explain your absence. So it's great to have you here, though.
Look, first of all, I want to say it's great to be here. It's been a process to get me out of my shell. I'm a scarred, hurt, distraught, pained Man United fan. But as I've said before many times, the sun will shine again, and I see the sun is beginning to rise for us very slowly. So I'm here to be the voice of reason in my brother Toby's absence, and yeah, happy to be here.
No, thank you for joining us. Lesiba Mohlala, a Liverpool fan. Sir, how are you? Thank you for taking the time, by the way.
Yes, sir. No, happy to be here. No, I've seen better Mondays. You know, it was a bit of a hangover from the weekend, whatever happened. But ultimately, I'm happy to be here. I'm good.
Honestly, thank you. And then Mvu and Rindai. Mvu, first of all, how are you feeling? I know you've waited for this specific result. How are you feeling, sir?
Inside. I'm great, bro. No complaints.
Rindai, another Madrid W. I know that you're in high spirits. How was your weekend? How are you feeling?
Nah, I'm up, bro. I'm up. In general, this season I've been up. But yeah, Arsenal won. I'm happy about that. Even though I went like we did buy that ref. I'm sure we'll get into that conversation.
Bro.
But yeah.
Okay, so then while we're here, Lesiba, I think I'm most keen to hear your thoughts about this game and about the state of your club generally. Do you think you guys deserve to get a point from that? There's questionable referee decisions, a penalty that might not have been. How are you feeling about that?
No, I don't think we deserved a point from that. I think Arsenal thoroughly deserved to win that game. First minute to last, it pains me to say. I'm in a very weird spot with Liverpool because the last 6 or 7 years, it's kind of been the come up that you feel from playing a game like FIFA. You know, you come to a club that's in complete disarray, and you sign the right players in the right moments that really help you win everything that you aim to win. And it's been great. This time period has been excellent for me. But now that money is gone, and we've had questionable transfers, and you know all of that stuff going on, I feel like very disappointed. I don't have much faith in Klopp as a manager going forward for Liverpool. I think his time is done.
That is damning. That is. I'm actually blown away by that. I thought you'd tell me that you're upset about the results and that Klopp is still the man and it's FSG.
Oh,
you're saying the coach. The coach is a problem.
I'm just getting the big idea out the way. I mean, yeah, I definitely am upset about the result, but just to elaborate on the big idea, Jurgen Klopp obviously has given Liverpool something that anyone else who could have done this in the time that he did it, the way that he did it. But we have to call a spade a spade. I don't know if you guys have all seen that Pep Guardiola talks about how to win for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years.
The need to refresh.
The need to refresh, right? And I don't think that the coach is exempt from that. I have a friend of mine who's a City supporter, and I say, you know, the fact that Kompany didn't win your last Premier League, neither did David Silva, neither did Yaya Toure. Like, these are big icons of the club that shifted and they've managed to stay at the top for this long. I mean, even Pellegrini's everyone's gone. You have to refresh. Even Guardiola will have his time. But the fact that we're hanging on to Klopp as if he's the one and only, I don't see it. I don't see how we get better under him. He's playing James Milner at 37, mate.
No, and that's a scathing assessment you just offered, and I don't think you're entirely wrong. I think Klopp has misused his squad at certain times, but personally, I don't think you guys can get a better coach than him. So to say that you're done with him is an extremely risky position to be placing yourself in. Thabani, what do you think about the state Liverpool in right now?
So I have two distinct opinions about Liverpool. I'll put my Man United cap on first. Look, I think if a Liverpool downfall coincided with a Man United come up, I would have too much power as an individual, and I think that is why we're not back yet. I am enjoying seeing Liverpool, the end of their so-called dominance, because I've had my own opinions about their dominance. I've given them daps when I've needed to, but I've also seen that maybe we gave them too much daps, and it's kind of
Speak on
unraveling.
it.
I don't think
damn it.
I think it's unfair to say it's unraveling, but I do think that we are witnessing the end of a cycle, and it's slow, it's slightly confusing, but man, it's good to just know that they're not who they were just now. Then I'll take my Man United hat off. I think it's tricky for Klopp because, like I said, when watching that game, it just feels like when you watch them play now, they are waiting for the magic of 3-4 years ago to come back. Like no one is doing anything, no one is trying anything. No one is they are literally trying to play the same football that they've been trying to play for 3-4 years. And it might actually be a coaching thing. Like what if Klopp is out of ideas? Now, what you said, Khanya, is that you don't think they'll get a better coach. I kind of disagree because different might be what they need now. Whether like they don't need someone better than Klopp, maybe they just need something different to Klopp. So they have a competent squad, which again, you talk about failing to replace certain players. They've bought guys. Like this team has changed and evolved, and I think there's a few guys who are behind schedule in terms of like Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, but Oaks, they have enough Oaks to play a different team than they did 3-4 years ago. They do have enough guys to do that in almost every position. But yeah, just watching them play now, I fear Klopp is more out of ideas than anything. It's like he's trying to hold on to something, and he doesn't have the facilities to carry out the change that's needed. Like, what if they need a new system, or they just need to try a few new things? But it's like they're waiting for the magic to come back, and that's what I see of Liverpool right now.
I'm actually blown away by this, and I'm loving this. I've waited for this day for a very long time. I didn't think Mvu, this is your moment. Get your shit off, sir. Please, please.
Yo, where do I start?
Yeah.
Good win. Prediction was off by 1 goal. It ended up being 3-2 to the Arsenal. But I was happy. I was a bit tense. I think this was a big test for us, and they didn't fold, which was good. We changed the game plan. Klopp generally struggles against teams that stay tight. So I think Arteta played his cards right. From a tactical point of view, everything was good. And it was a bit surprising. So I'm as happy as can be. And Liverpool, I think Thabani touched on it. My biggest problem with this team has never been about, how well they've performed over the last years. It's been, like Tab said, giving daps. We over dapped them way too early. Like they were getting shouts to be, and not just from people in the group, but there were shouts of them being the best club, the best or the greatest Premier League side, like all these things. When before they achieved enough to be put in those categories, I think men were being seduced by, they've got 90 points, they've got this, and like it's just a sign of the times. But yeah, I was really happy. Trent subbed at halftime. He needs something very, very quickly. I think.
Wait. Sorry to cut
Pogba's
you.
witch doctor
Before we
is what
get
he
to
needs.
Trent, because I feel like it's a big thing. It's a very, very big thing. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Perfectly, sir.
I just want to say on that, the DAPS thing, I want to say that I partially can see where other clubs, particularly clubs like Arsenal, United, even Chelsea, will be hacked to see, the 1920 Liverpool team is just the best Premier League team of all time kind of thing. I can see it. That's ludicrous. But also, I have to defend my club here. Oaks, those are Oaks selling papers. Like City have had the best Premier League team. Pick of the last 10 years. Pick a team as the best Premier League team ever. But it sells papers because Oaks know it's controversial. It's not true. Van Dijk got 1 Prem, mates. Can't talk with Terry and the boys. Like, you guys know, you guys fell for the dance. We were just here to enjoy the ride.
Can
I
I play
I
devil's
don't
advocate?
I don't know how much you believe all of what you're telling us as well. Like, yes, there's truth in it, but boy, nah. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Can I play devil's advocate here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's hear you, sir.
So, I don't think it's wrong that Liverpool were getting shouts for being the greatest team. I think the answer to the question was no. But if you look at the level of performance and you look at, like Lesiba said in the beginning, look at where this club was 6 or 7 years ago, the trajectory is insane. There's nothing like it. So I think when you start from that low of a starting point to get to that high of a high point, it's inevitable that you're gonna like enter those debates. And like you say, look at the team that they pushed to the final day of the season twice. Like, yes, obviously you're not the greatest if you I still disagree with a lot of things that happened, including Klopp winning manager of the year when he lost to Pep. But like, they were pushing the best team that we've seen in the last decade in England to the last day twice. They beat them once and then had an injury-ridden season, which was a bit of a write-off for them. So were they
And then
overdapped?
bounced back
Yes.
and came to the Champions League final.
So yeah, so were Liverpool
And lost.
overdapped? Yes, but were they overdapped? were they overdapped too much? I don't know if they were overdapped too much. I think
I know
For
they
like,
were.
for me,
They were.
I feel like they were never the greatest Premier League side ever, because I don't think you can have that title if you only won one Premier League. You feel me? So regardless of
100%.
how well they played, I don't really think you can have that title. But I think what made the whole Liverpool story hard was that all these guys have won everything now. You feel me? And I think that's also why maybe Trent has lacked a bit of motivation, because he only has one Prem, okay, one Champions League, but he's won every trophy that he can compete in on the club level at such a young age. So it's like you can understand why they feel the way they feel. But yeah, I agree. Like, it's late for Klopp now. I don't see him
So,
coming back.
Rindai, you touched on the lack of motivation. Is that what you think is the real issue, that the
Yeah,
players are tired of playing under Klopp, actually? Like, the time has come and gone. He needed to move these players on.
yeah, exactly. I don't know if it was Thabani or Lesiba who mentioned that. Yeah, they just need change. Not necessarily a better manager, but they just need change, because I feel like as a bowler, sometimes you need something else to get you going, especially when you've won that match. You feel me? So I don't, especially when it comes to Trent, I don't think Klopp can take Trent to the next level, bro. You get me? Personally, I don't think he's a guy.
He
So
has no other level.
No, I also want to add on that thing as well. I'm sure you guys have all heard this the school of thought, I guess, being passed around about the Liverpool revolution starting with Mane and leaving with him as well. I
Interesting.
kind of feel I agree with this thing. I think it's too plain to see to fight it, but I think that on the case of motivation, I think that there's a nuance there, because you can have the players that we still have now, get refreshed players or whatever, but we've lost someone in a key role who does something that is like so important to the ethos of the club, that clearly he's proven that he's the pivotal player.
yeah,
He's hardly ever injured, played basically every game, and played like 7.5 above every game. Like, he was everything for us.
yeah.
And we sold the wrong guy. Between him and Salah, we picked Salah. We really shouldn't have done that, because Salah's bums without him.
True.
And on that,
Can I just add two things? I think, Tab, just linking back to them possibly being overdapped. I have a scary thing to say right now, but it might not be too bad. But I think when Lost United win the league, was it in 2013?
Who can remember, bro?
So
12, 13.
bar the Champions League, right? Bar the Champions League. Man United and Liverpool in the last 10 years have won the exact same amount of trophies.
Yeah.
That is scary. And that is a team we were told they're the greatest. Like, there's no way of spinning this, in my opinion. Like, guys, it was just a lie. Like, yes, they did extremely well, but the problem was too much praise without results. Like Tab spoke about how Klopp was given manager of the like. It was more than just selling papers. I think Siba, like it was just blatant bullshit. That's all it was.
But to counter them, it's like, bro, like obviously Klopp only won the Premier League once, but like Thabani said, in the seasons, the 2 other seasons where I was like that close to winning it, and to be honest, there's no one other than Pep who would have stopped him Klopp from winning the Premier League, and I'm not using that as an excuse for anything, but I'm just saying like
they're the greatest, aren't they? They're the greatest.
No,
We were told they're the greatest.
But
Yo,
like
we were told they're the
your
greatest.
hate runs so deep, my brother. Honestly,
They gave us some-
My issue is not. My issue is not about how well they've done. I think they've done extremely well, but they were called the greatest. If you're put in those categories, there has to be something to back it up. Not oh, it was Pep stopped him. No.
I agree, but that's even why what I said earlier. I said, look, it's actually City, and we all know it, and nobody can ever deny it. City is the greatest. Pick a side. The last 10 seasons, that's the greatest Premier League side ever. No matter which one you pick, I think they will all work. So I'm saying that, like, bro, they called us the greatest purely because City was our adjacent. Like, they the real greatest. We were the underdog, and we did that well. Now it's no more underdog anymore because we've been at the top too long, and like we didn't get the results. So now everyone's over it. They're over the story.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, nobody here thinks that there's an overreaction and that Liverpool might actually be fine in about 3 weeks' time because there's so many games in close conjunction that they'll pick up points. So if you give your prediction right now, Siba, for the rest of the season, where do you think Liverpool finish?
I wish you didn't ask me this. Okay, I gotta be honest here. I think that Liverpool would do well to finish 6th.
Oh,
Yo.
Guys,
That's
you
crazy.
said at the beginning, we're 4 points off of relegation. We've got what? 8 points from 10 games. There's no sign of getting better. What? 9-0 against Bournemouth.
Trent shrugging his shoulders.
I mean, Bournemouth are ahead of you right now. I don't think
Bournemouth are
that
ahead of
Bournemouth.
us right now. I mean,
Yeah,
Trent
so
scoring free kicks and shit. Like, who cares? Who cares? We're losing. Trent, almost every goal this season goes through Trent. Do you know that I've never ever seen that from any player ever in my life? My whole life, I've never seen this.
Greatest
It's such
right
an
back.
easy win. Yo, like, what's the opposite of a cheat code? That's what Trent is right now.
I'm astounded by that, honestly. But what I wanted to ask you, well, the group generally, is the one thing I think has gone under the radar, what Trent has been slandered for essentially doing, in my eyes at least, for the most part, all the things that he'd normally been doing. I don't think he's ever been especially good defensively. The team's always kind of found a way to cover up for that. I think everyone's kind of ignored the fact that the player that was kept instead of Mane, Mohamed Salah, hasn't really had a season of any significance at this point in time. And this is almost the start of another trend. And he showed a huge contract, and thereafter seems to have tailed off. Do you guys think that the contract is the reason that's the case, or do you think it's completely unrelated things? Like you can't put it down to just the contract, that the club in general is in disarray?
I gotta just say
Thabani.
quickly, there's precedence. There's precedence. Aubameyang and Ozil. There's precedent, bro.
You don't think those are bad examples?
No, I don't think those are bad examples. I think they're extremely relevant.
How so? When you know that Ozil, for example, wasn't training, right? There were many other issues that he had.
Yeah,
you know
religious
that
issues, there's...
like he got frozen out for a bunch of different reasons. I wouldn't put that on him. I wouldn't put him getting the contract as part of that reason, really.
Sure, of course there's other reasons. Salah's also, like, Liverpool are failing at a lot of different areas. We didn't bolster up in the summer. Our midfield is toast. Like, there'll always be other reasons. Even Aubameyang's got other reasons. I just say that there's precedent. Player gets a big contract like that. It happened. Why does it keep happening? It happened again. Now he's balling.
So with all that you know now, if you had the opportunity to sell Salah and keep Mane, is that what you would have done, or would you have sold both of them? Because someone has to get that big contract in the end.
Yo,
Lesiba, can you hear me?
I think I lost you guys for a second. Yeah, sorry, I didn't get that.
I said, with all that you know now, having seen how Salah's performed since the contract, would you have chosen to instead sell Salah and Mane, or would you give Mane the contract? Because if you do that, you have the same issue. You're still giving somebody that big money.
Well, you see, I use the word precedent because it's not necessarily a given. I do think Mane would have handled that pressure differently. And also, his role in the team is different to Salah. And he performed his role better than Salah's performed his, I'd argue. Salah's afforded his role because of someone like Mane, I think. But I would have liked us to sell Salah and Mane at the same time, to be honest. I know it would have been risky, but we could really do a rebuild from that. And that's where we are right now. If we're calling a spade, Liverpool are in a rebuild phase. And it's weird to see because we haven't necessarily needed to do that for a while. And also we haven't crashed this hard. After that injury season that we had, I thought that the signs were there. The writing was on the wall, but we didn't act quick enough, and now this is where we are. You guys saw that stat that the only 2 midfielders we signed since winning the Champions League was Arthur and Thiago.
Yeah.
That's toast.
That's my favorite stat, because I argued with you for a year that you guys needed a midfielder, and you said no. I'm glad the chickens have come home to roost. But Thabani, I wanted to get your opinion on this big contract debate.
So this one's quite tricky, and I think more often than not, a player gets a big contract after, as usually their second or third deal at the club, and they're getting offered a deal based on what they've done. These deals are rarely ever based on what is expected from the player over the next 3 or 4 years that the deal lasts, right? So I made fun of City and I made fun of them for giving Kevin De Bruyne that huge deal. I said he was made of glass. He just had an injury-ridden season, underperformed in the off-season. He was really struggling. And I think it was the beginning of last season where he kind of struggled to get into things. Might have been the season before, but I really had to go at them after seeing the Ozil saga, the Oba saga, and I was like, here we go again. KDB not going to make it. And you realize that it's more of a bet, as it's more you give a player 350k a week on a 5 year when he's 29 because you're scared to lose him. Losing a player at that age for almost no money is probably more detrimental than keeping him. So I think giving Salah an extension is more about, we don't want to lose Salah now and how much he means to this fan base and how much he's done for us, because he could still go make someone else better. And I think it was a coin toss between him and Mane, where I think Mane signed the season before Salah, so it was kind of, he can go first, rather than we're keeping Salah because he's going to do more for us over the coming years than Mane. So I asked the question, what have we thought of Salah's season? I haven't been impressed. I think more than ever and I go back to my point about the lack of ideas. I watch Liverpool play and I question what Salah does in the middle third of the pitch, when I know that's not where he's supposed to be at his best, but the guy doesn't control. He doesn't add much to build up. He doesn't invent much. He rarely progresses the team forward anymore. And again, it's like, what is the plan with Salah now? Like, do we need? Are they going to have to get another Mane to get the best out of him? So yeah, giving a player a big contract is, I can accept it. I can understand it, because you have to pay Oaks. Imagine not paying De Bruyne. Imagine not paying Salah. Imagine not paying Oba. They're probably going to make other Oaks better around you, or go abroad and go compete in the Champions League. So it makes sense, but you kind of, as long as you understand that you're paying an Oak for what he's done, as opposed to what you think you can get out of him. Like now, they're just squeezing the juice out of Salah. Whatever he gives them in the next 2-3 years, like they'll have to take it. They have to take it. And then maybe in the last year of his deal, when he's, I don't know, 33, 34, well, that's it. But to not pay him now would have kind of been a bit ridiculous. Like, let's be honest. Imagine they let Salah go for free because they didn't want to pay him. We would have said they're stupid. We would have roasted them. You guys know that. So I don't have a problem with the big deal. I just think, or rather, I hope maybe at some point we get to a stage where the clubs take back a bit of that power, and maybe Man City are the only club that can do it now, because they just made 50M off Raheem Sterling, who still has juice to offer another club. They made 50M of Zinchenko, so they know when to let go of Oaks. And I think more top clubs, if they can be that bold to say, look, we can replace you. We can literally replace you. And then that'll be nice to see. But yeah, giving Noka a big contract, it makes sense, but maybe I hope to see less of it going forward.
So if I ask you the same question that I asked you, but if you had to keep one of Mane or Salah, you'd have kept Salah, obviously.
I think, yeah,
just on a personal preference.
Hindsight's always 2020, right? We can look back and be like, oh, they chose the wrong guy. But it made sense to. I think they could have got more money for Salah, but I think Salah going to a club. I mean, where was Salah going to go? He's probably going to go to a club on the same level or bigger than Liverpool. And I think if you have to choose, they had to choose what they'd be less hurt by. And I think they're less hurt by letting Mane go to Bayern than they would be by letting Salah go to Madrid, for example, or another Premier League team. So it was kind of like they had to bite the bullet somewhere. I don't think choosing Salah was wrong, but I think choosing Salah with the state of their team now looks like a terrible decision when Mane looks like he still has a lot to offer for Bayern Munich. But they had to choose the bullet that they wanted to bite, and they chose the Mane bullet, and I don't think that's the worst decision ever.
Okay, no, I hear it. Rindai, I really want to know, you're a Madrid fan more than anything else. You never really faced these issues because Perez always knows when to let go of bugs. So how do you?
About the whole big contracts and giving players big contracts, I don't know. Because going back to what Thabani said, like, if you pay people based on potential, that's still risky, you feel me? Because you're basically paying someone based on what they can do, but you don't really know what they can do. But it's also tricky when you pay someone like in their prime because you don't know how long their prime is going to last. But for me, I think it's more than just the money. I feel like it's just the success in general. Because obviously they gave Salah a big contract, but firstly he deserved it because of everything that he's done for the club and whatnot. But he's also got trophies underneath his belt now, so it's sort of like, okay, obviously the money might make him like motivation, but the fact that he's gonna go down as an all-time great because he won everything, to be honest, especially in the Premier League. So I think like a combination of those two factors, I feel like it's success in general.
For what it's worth, I think like teams kind of overestimate the value of players because at the end of the day, you have to replace absolutely everyone. You can say this player is irreplaceable, that player is very hard to find someone who's going to give them the same kind of impact. The way I see it, at the end, every single player, like come rain or shine, is going to have to go. And when you watch how Madrid conducted themselves, it's made it really clear to me that more often than not, if you can think of somebody to sign, you're better off making the money off of that player earlier as opposed to dealing with the declining asset at a later point. I think a lot of it, I think Thabani alluded to it earlier as well, is optics, if we're honest. When Arsenal gave Ozil the contract, I'm pretty sure we only did because we had just let Sanchez go to United. I think if Sanchez had stayed, we would have let Ozil go. And ultimately, that held the club back maybe 2 years in terms of like potential recruitment. Like we replaced Ozil with Odegaard in 2021. That's when we actually signed him. Ozil wasn't relevant for Arsenal for 2 years before that was the case. I think it's too easy to kind of rely on the players you already have. I think ultimately that is club's biggest issue. Milner got a new contract, for example, and that wasn't a big contract, but there was no need. There was no reason to justify that. But Mvu, I need to know, how do you feel about this? Your club gives out contracts for free. PK, Busquets, Alba, still eating. So I wonder where you stand.
I have had strong opinions about this, and when I was saying this, I was called FFP Mvu. So I've known that my opinion meant nothing from that day onwards. But like, essentially, I agree with the basis that like you lot have said, is that I think players are paid more for what they've done versus what they can do further. Sorry, I think that's the way I just agree with that point that Tab made. But you get a lot of the times now where players get big contracts because they see potential and it doesn't work out. So I don't think it's worth the risk. In general, I think you should have someone there. Like there needs to be some form of track record before you give someone that money. And when you do so, I think Khanya, like you said, it should be at a point where it's not giving someone all the praise. Like you should be able to let them go at some stage. You should see beyond the player, not put all your value into that player. But that doesn't make a player deserve the money any less. So I I think my biggest problem is when I feel that players don't deserve that money, and that's how things have panned out at Barcelona with a lot of the people we signed. People were getting mad contracts for no reason. But just with Salah, I don't think his form is down to this contract thing. I think the way he's performing now, it's a form thing, but for me, it's more about what I've always thought with Salah in terms of his actual footballing abilities. Not that it's this bad or anything like that. No, like all praise to him. He's done remarkable things over the past 5 years, but I've always kind of seen him as, like Tab said, more a final third player, and needing some form of compliment. And I think now he's always been, like in inverted commas, the main man at Liverpool. But I think from the games that I used to watch, like Mane would trigger the press. Mane would show up in the big games. Where now, if Salah's relied on to do that week in week out, and just be the best performing player every week, I don't think. And also, like come collect the ball, create everything. Like I think he has it now and then, but I don't think he was ever going to be equipped to do it to the way they want him to do it this season. And I think his form and the way he's playing is more that than him actually getting a big contract. Yeah, I don't think his form has anything to do with the amount of money that he's being paid, or ambition, or like any of those things.
So you put it down to just Liverpool generally, like the fact that he can't do what he used to do without Mane, for example.
Yeah, I don't think they thought that through that much. But it's still a rebuilding process. Like this Liverpool team is not playing that heavy metal football that they used to play, and it's kind of changed over the years as well. Like I think in Klopp's first 3 seasons, it was all that, and then they when signing Thiago, they've shown that okay, we want to add something different to the game. And now they're at this point where they can't play that way because these players are old, and they're transitioning to a new style. So I don't think they thought everything through. They just wanted to keep this player that's done so well. They thought that he's probably more valuable to Liverpool Football Club than Mane is, without actually factoring in how they're gonna play in the next season. But it might just be a transitional period. Yeah,
I think in large parts that's what it is, because them signing Thiago, like for me, represented that they were going to try play a little bit differently, and he plays like no other midfielder that they've had. I think there's just too much for them to try and figure out at once. Like them having a season like this is kind of overdue. You can't rebuild an entire midfield on the backs of 30-year-old midfielders, one who should have been replaced maybe 2 years ago, and then hope that Salah just bails you out indefinitely, like his partner in crime.
yeah.
But yeah, no, Thabani, I think you had one other point before we moved on.
I just want to say, I think on clubs giving out big contracts, what I would love to see is if you do need to pay a guy, because like I said, they could either have not extended Salah and lost him on a free this season, which would have been even worse. Not even worse, but I'm saying when it happened, if they said we are not extending his contract, Mo Salah will be leaving at the end of the 2022-23 season, there would have been uproar. It would have upset a lot of people, probably a lot of his teammates. It would have upset him, the fans. So again, the optics part that you mentioned is very crucial. But what I would love to see is, you know what, guy, Mo Salah, we're gonna pay you for 2 years. We'll give you £400,000 a week for 2 years. with an option to extend for less money, because in 2 years' time, you'll be 2 years older, 2 years closer to the end of your career, and you will have a lot less to offer us then than you do now. And that's our take it or leave it. We're giving you 2 years of money and an option to extend for a bit less money. And then we're not bound to a 4-year contract, because what are you going to be doing for us in 4 years' time? You will not be the Egyptian king or the Egyptian prince. You won't even be in the royal family in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'd love to see. That's what I'd love to see a club do. It's just be like, yo, guy, we're going to pay you your money on our terms. Take it or leave it. You're better off taking it, because you will get your money. You're important to us, the club. We're showing you the value. But understand that we also are going to have to move on from you. Like, you won't have much resale value. You'll have less resale value after 2 years than you do now. We'll still let you go somewhere for some money, and we won't try squeeze out 60, 70, 80 million for you, because we know it'll be, we know. So that's what I'd love to see. I don't know who's going to be, but at some point there needs to be a club that just says, dude, take our money for a shortened period of time or bounce now. That's what I want to see.
Now, hopefully we get back to that point. Okay, before we move on to one more thing, Rindai, please, short and quick, sir.
Yeah, no, I just had a short comment. Like, I hear what we're all saying about Salah, and I agree with what we're saying, but let's not act like money is doing wonders at Bayern Munich. That's all I'm gonna say.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Truly,
no comment.
Truly.
That's all I'm gonna say.
But Thabani, while we have you here, there's something you mentioned about a week ago, a certain opinion you expressed that I've been dying to hear you explain in full. For those who haven't heard our most recent episode, Thabani, you said that you believe Jude Bellingham is destined to be England's greatest ever midfielder. I need you to walk us through this train of thought.
Allow me to clear my throat, number one, get my notes, number two, and proceed to spit some facts. So there's a finite list of things I've been sure about in my life that have come to fruition in all aspects of my life, and I believe that this is the next one. And the guys in the group know that when it comes to the long game and the waiting game, I'm in a league of my own, and I will wait it out and be right. If I have to wait 15 years to be proven right, I will be. But my take here, for the record, for everyone to hold, for you to clip it, post it on your socials, get it transcribed and put up on your walls, go ahead. Jude Bellingham will retire as a fact as the greatest English midfielder of all time. And I'm so sure of it, because what he is doing now, he's about 5 years ahead of his own development curve. He doesn't look like a type of player who'll be blighted by injuries or poor form when he gets to 24, 25. He's so far ahead of what other Oaks were doing. With like, who are the greats? We know them. The big three, maybe a few others. He's already ahead of them now. He will win trophies. If you want to turn it into a trophies thing, guaranteed. He's going to go to a bigger club than Dortmund and win. So the trophies thing is wrapped up. Then it's like influence and like the size of the player. He's captaining Dortmund at 19. Dortmund are no small fishes. Yes, okay, in Germany, they've hardly competed in the last few years, but that's a big club, and he's English. An Englishman captaining a German team at 19. Obviously, he's not the club captain, I know, but like, what do you mean, mate? What do you mean? Then look at what he's doing at the stages. He's done it he's done more in the Champions League. We're not going to expose players now. But if you look at Jude Bellingham in the Champions League the last 2 seasons, there's a long list of guys who want his CV right now. A long list of guys. We're not going to say their names, but I'm so sure of it. And my ideal trajectory for Jude is actually this. It's unlikely, but the guy's 19, which means in another 6, he can go have a 6-year career at a top European club, and then another 4-year career at another top European club. He can go win in Spain and England, and he can go to whoever wants him, because he's likely to be the next 300 million pound player. 150 on his next move, maybe another 150 after that. I promise you. The guy can do anything. He's still learning. He's still going to get coached by better coaches than he has now. He's got so much potential and ability. Have you heard the guy speak in an interview, mate? So yeah, that's it. Me and Jude, I'm so sure. 10 years, 15 years, I will probably have the same number. I'll share it. Call me. We can talk about it.
No, that's an impassioned plea and cry you've given out there for Jude Bellingham. And for what it's worth, dude, I rate the guy. There's so much to like about him. There really is. When you're that good, that young, it's hard to not have a bunch of people get behind you and support you and want the world for you. On FM for the past 3 years, he's the only young talent I always sign. I love him. I'm attached. Truly, I want him to. I pray somehow, some way. I don't know when it would be that he'd end up at Arsenal or at Madrid. I have these big hopes that you have for him. My only issue is he's coming up when there's a lot of talented youngsters. There's Pedri, who has already gotten his country to a Euro semi-final when he was 19. Bellingham was benching for England at the time and benching for one of Calvin Phillips or Declan Rice. And that's not to say that he should have been immediately moving them on, but I think it does speak volumes that he's not as, I don't want to say as complete, but I think right now Pedri is ahead of him, for example. I think that there are other players that are just better. Yeah, they're just better midfielders than he is right now. And as much as he's doing incredibly right now, I don't think he has the capacity to get the numbers, for example, of someone like Frank Lampard. I don't know exactly what he'd need to do in his career where I'd have him placed as someone much better than Lampard ever was. There's players like Camavinga who I also think are able to do things that Bellingham probably won't be able to.
No.
And Rindai, Rindai, I'm gonna kick it to you. Give me time, Rindai. Let me finish. Rindai, that's unprofessional, Chief. Please, come on, Don. I let you speak.
Sorry.
There's just a very talented class generally. How you rank them, honestly, that's your business. There's Musiala as well. There's lots and lots of these talented young players coming through. So I just think it's really interesting that the person you've put all your stocks in is this young English player, when like the norm is for those players to be the ones who are hyped more than anyone else before they've actually had to show that they are as complete as they're projected to be. Siba, you and I have discussed Bellingham quite a bit. I'd like to hear how you feel about this and who you pick as the most exciting midfield talent in your eyes.
I want to answer this first. I want to preface it rather with a question. Do you guys think Bellingham, is there any chance he goes to Liverpool? I hope not.
But boy, you shouldn't have asked me that. I think there is a chance. I don't think you're favorites, but if not, Madrid is you.
You see, okay, the reason I wanted to preface it with that is because, look, I think Bellingham is great. Khanya, you know that we've spoken about him at length. We know his discrepancies in terms of his passing range and ultimately what he knows about the game. Look, he's got a great engine, great leadership skills, all that stuff. He's very young. It's the midfield. He'll get there. He'll get there. It's just that I wanted to preface my answer with that question because I just, for a little bit, want to talk about how that's how big he is already. Liverpool are a top club. A club built for people like him. He's literally our Gerrard replacement. We've said this for years, since he was like 17. And already we are being snubbed. He's saying, nah, I'd rather go to Madrid. I mean, he will go to Madrid. Come on, he's Jude Bellingham. He'll get there. He'll go later, bro. But we're being snubbed like this. No. It's embarrassing. But anyway, he's definitely top 5. Pedri, for me, is one of the best midfielders on the planet right now. And the best young midfielder, in my opinion. But the pick that's ahead of me right now, I don't know if he's the same age bracket. I don't know if I can do this. Phil Foden has truly come into his own this season. I've had my doubts and reservations. I've even said that he might have Isco syndrome of being a highly technical, amazing player, but ineffective. He's proving me wrong nearly every game. He's a great player.
Is it fair to count Foden when he's not yet, though?
But that's the thing. He is starting to play more in midfield now.
For City.
More than he... Yeah, for City, yeah. More than he has been. He's playing in midfield a lot more, and I think that's where he ends up. I think that's his position. It's gonna have to be some kind of hybrid position. He's not like really like a player I've seen before, to be honest. But I look at someone like Phil Foden, and I look at someone like Jude Bellingham. I think that Phil Foden has bags more talent than Jude Bellingham. Bellingham's got all the things to love about a player, but in terms of ball at the feet, there are just far more things than Foden can do than Bellingham can do, and I think that will stay true throughout both of their careers. That's my piece on it.
Okay, that is interesting. The fact that you started that off by crying about Liverpool again is really saddening.
Wow.
Mvu, please, I'd love to hear who you have as your pick.
Okay, just even before I get there, I just want to make a comment. Khanya was talking about Jude not playing, and we know that Southgate was the manager. So, Chief, please don't do that again. That was just not. No, like we all know, we all have the same opinion of Southgate, and the reason why the likes of Phillips were ahead of Jude at that time was just because of that manager. I don't think there was any other reason besides that. But I guess I'll start with what Siba was saying. I think I have the same opinion that, like, Foden, I don't think any of the English players. I think, okay, yeah, I think he's the one, but Saka has come into his own a lot more, like, over the last year, and I think his decision making has what's made him a lot better, like develop a lot faster than I anticipated that he would be. So I'm starting to like edge him to that bracket, but in terms of, like he said, on the like ability wise, I don't think anyone can talk to Foden. None of them. And it would just be interesting to see how Pep can transition him to being a more to have more midfield duties. I think his best position will probably be as a 10, because now he has a feel for goals. He's been playing in a much more advanced role. I don't see him coming so far back deep and playing as an 8 later in his career. So I think that would be just very interesting to see. But I don't agree with Thabani. I don't think he will go down as that. Purely from a talent, it's like just purely from talent. I think Foden has already won so many trophies. I think when it's all said and done, it would most likely be him. But yeah, I have high hopes for Jude. I'm a big fan. But when we're talking about for me, Gerrard stands above all of these players. Maybe not so much for his trophies, but ability-wise, playing at a high level in almost 3 different positions. There was a season he was playing off the right for majority season, didn't drop off in form. Played as a 10, didn't drop off in form. Played deeper, didn't drop off in form. Carrying a very, very poor Liverpool side to major trophies. Like he was the guy. If you needed anyone to control a game, it was him. I don't think I've seen an English midfielder as good as him. Maybe Scholes was good. I don't think Lampard was as good as Gerrard, but I think it would take a lot for a player to surpass what I see Gerrard as. And I don't think I've seen that yet in Jude, but I see his trajectory as going to the very top, but I'm not sure if he will end up being the greatest English midfielder. But I also do agree with you, Khanya, that there's still other midfielders now. Pedri head and shoulders above the rest. Yeah, I just I don't see what Thabani sees, but I'm hopeful that he has a very, very great career.
And finally, Rindai, you lost your mind at the idea of representing Camavinga as one of those great talents. For a little bit of context, Rindai believes that Camavinga is essentially a scrub, and that Valverde, Real Madrid's midfielder, is far, far superior to him in every way, shape, and form. and he completely ignores the fact that Camavinga is 19 years old, and he insists that there's no way that Camavinga has a bigger future at Madrid than Valverde does. But Rindai, with that context given, I'd love to hear what you think on this Bellingham debate.
Okay, firstly, sorry for cutting you off here, bro.
No stress,
Yeah,
my friend. No stress.
I just, like I hate that narrative that I don't like Camavinga because I really like him, bro. But if we're keeping it real, like I don't think he's on the same level as the Pedris and the Fodens and the Bellinghams. But with that being said, I do agree with you guys saying that Pedri is better than Bellingham at the moment. But with that being said, for me personally, when I stand youngsters, like obviously if you're talented, that's cool. But like I see your mentality. Like for example, one of the reasons why I love Vinny was because I could see now, like he's just a real nigga. You get what I mean, bro? And like I know we've all seen the video of Benzema saying that he's playing against us and whatnot, and the way like he handled that and used that as motivation. He wasn't on some like this guy's tripping. He realized Benzema's done something, you get me? So like he had to prove himself. No one's gonna feel sorry for him. And I feel the same, like what Thabani was saying. That's why I like Jude Bellingham, because you can see he's got that mentality. Whereas with Foden, I'm not saying he doesn't have that mentality, but he's in a very perfect situation right now. So if he was to leave to another club or be in a situation where he actually faces real adversity, I wouldn't know. I would rather trust Bellingham than him.
So you stand with Thabani essentially. You're saying that Jude has more minerals to be that guy in this generation than Foden does.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear that question, bro.
I said, so do you stand with Thabani in saying that Jude has more minerals than Foden to be that guy for England than Foden does at present?
Yes. I do stand with Thabani. I'm always Jude over Foden.
No, that's big. That's really big. So Thabani, I think you had one more question. I'm curious to hear you, sir.
Yeah, I've heard all. I understand where you guys are coming from, and I understand that this is a big bet, but this is a big bet with, in my eyes, a guaranteed payoff. And I think the question about titles is one thing, right? Because titles can always be put into context. If you win X amount of titles at 2021, like the context is there, What I'd like you guys to think about, as much as, because I'm not arguing about talent right now. I'm placing a long-term bet on a career trajectory from start to finish. And when you pick up a guy when he's 19, 20, and then he gets to 33, 34, and you're like, Jesus, what a career. And you just think about it. That's what I see for Jude. My question is for you guys now, and not just for you, for the listeners, for anyone who wants a bit of homework. I don't need an answer now, but you're talking about Pedri, you're talking about Foden, and there's two categories of teams right now at the top. There's teams who are at the top and teams who are trying to be at the top. I think Jude is the only player that makes all of the teams in both categories better. Jude goes to Liverpool, makes them better. Jude goes to Barca, makes them better. Madrid, City, Bayern, makes them better. Jude goes to the teams who are trying to be top teams. Jude goes to Arsenal, makes them better. Jude goes to Man United, makes them a hell of a lot better. Jude goes to Chelsea, makes them better. And there's a pattern there. I don't think Foden goes to Man United and Arsenal and makes them better. I think Foden is a great piece at City, but how many top teams in the world can Foden play in and make better? How many top teams can you put Pedri in right now and he plays in and makes them better? I don't think they're in that category now. And now we're talking about Jude doing this at 19. Imagine Jude at 23. Imagine Jude at 27. He'll make any team in the world better. Any team in the world would be lucky to have him, where you're talking about guys like Pedri, Foden, who I'm not slandering them, but if you play your first 4 or 5 years of your career at Man City under Pep, at Barca with the style of play that they grew up, you're not the most versatile guy. You're not the most physically astute. You're not the type of guy to slot into any team and make them better. And that's why I think over the long run, when you play in multiple leagues under different coaches and you improve every team you go into, which is what I expect and what I really want for him, that's why I'm making this bet. Because I genuinely believe that he has so much potential because of his style of play, and B, yeah, like Rindai says, the intangibles. I think the intangibles are there to see, and that's clear. That's not debatable. But I genuinely think that his skill set and his ability, and he's still going to be so much more adaptable than he is now, that he will make so many teams better, and his signature will be the most desired for the next 10 years, guys. For the next 10 years, because there'll be more talented guys, but from a footballing point of view, you might get to a stage where Phil Foden's available, but does he make us better? Where will he fit? How will he play? Is he a midfielder? Is he a 10? Is he a winger? Jude is that guy for any team in the world right now, and I believe in my heart of hearts it'll stay like that for a very long time. So yeah, anyway, just give it some thought, but that's where I stand.
So what you raised just now is why I asked the question about is Foden truly a midfielder? Because when I think about it in the way that you posed that question, Foden doesn't. You're right about that, and that's why I wouldn't have him as the guy I'm championing. I do believe that Pedri does have the ability right now. I think the world of that player. But like you said to give this time. So I will. You've given a very good defense of your star boy, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that for us. And while we're speaking about United, it wouldn't be right if while we have you here, we didn't let you give us your reflections on last night's performance. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about your team generally? How are you feeling about the performance? What are your major thoughts?
I'm still generally terrified to watch Man United games, but less terrified than I've been before. I knew we wouldn't lose to Everton unless we played really badly. And after that start, it was like, oh my God, here we go. But once we equalized, I could just see that level of confidence in people trying things. And we're a very moody team, not just, the guys on antidepressants, but even the other Oaks, it depends which day you catch them. It can go either way. But I could see there was a bit of fight in Luke Shaw. I could see Bruno. Bruno was really irritating yesterday, but I could just see he was willing to win that game. Rashford, took the pills just before. He had something about him. So I think you have to grind out wins. We're not in a position where we're not going to win a game comfortably for the next year or so. Like unless a team is really, really bad against us. So we're going to have to enjoy a lot of that. I think the one thing that's kind of taken me aback, not just yesterday, but this season, if you told me how upset I'd be with Anthony Martial being injured, I'd be shocked if you told me that this time last year. Like, I'd tell you to go away. But the fact that, like, I was really bummed when he went off yesterday, and I'm a bit concerned about how many more games we can win with this patch job front three. I'd be stunned. But happy with the win. Happy for Ronaldo, not because we need him to score goals and win games for us, but just because it just does something for him and the guys around him when he scores, It feels like after he scored, there was just a big sigh of relief amongst everyone, the fans, the manager, him, his teammates. Like, there was just a sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God he scored. Now we can, can do other stuff now. So happy Ronaldo scored. Bit concerned about the front three, but like I said on the group right now, I will take the points. I will take the points because other guys are going to drop points. There's results to be had everywhere. And if we can get to the World Cup not in a terrible position, we can pounce after the World Cup. We can capitalize on injuries, change in fortune. We've got a base. Someone did make an interesting point to me the other day that United actually have a lot of players going to the World Cup, and we might actually be worse off. I didn't want to confront it then, but it is something that I've been thinking about. I will keep thinking about it. But yeah, I want us to get to the World Cup. Give me the points. I don't care about performance right now. Give me the points, and I think we'll be fine.
Okay. So I have one question from all of that. When you say pounce, what do you think? What do you think United could possibly do? What does pouncing look like? They finish where?
I think it's one of those seasons where when you get to the home stretch, 8, 9, 10 games to go, and you start looking at the league table, and you start looking at your fixtures. I think we can get to that. If we can get to that stage where mathematically top four is on, there's just something about this team. I feel like they can be galvanized to push. They have a push in them. That's what I believe. I don't think they don't have the minerals to push now and slaughter teams and win comfortably now. But I do think they will sniff at the chance. They will jump at the chance to qualify in the top four with 7 games to go. I do think with a World Cup coming, that there will be the biggest change in individual player form and team form before and after the World Cup. It's inevitable. Teams that are hot before will kind of struggle to get hot again. Teams that are struggling and don't have a lot of players to go to the World Cup will kind of carry some momentum. There'll be shocks, there'll be surprises, and I think if you can just stay in the fight for as long as possible, with the likes of Liverpool dropping points, with Spurs not being that impressive, Chelsea are anyone's guess. I think if you can just stay in the fight, top four has to be on. You just have to stay in the fight, and I do think that there's just something about this team won't give up on this manager. Oh, touch wood! I can't believe I just said that on the podcast. But this team won't give up on their manager. But they just need to stay mathematically in it and stay mentally in it, and just try and get to a point where, you know what, flip, the season's not over. Because last season, our season ended when? In January? It ended when that clown Ralph came to our club. But, we'll get to a stage where if we're still mathematically in it, we can galvanize. I promise you.
No, very, very optimistic outlook. Rindai, how do you feel about United's chances this season? Or do you think that there's anything that they have to look forward to?
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Perfectly, sir.
Okay. I think obviously top four is definitely the ceiling. Will they get there? I don't know. I agree with Tab. I feel like as long as they just keep on getting the points right now, after the World Cup and this season, I feel like Arsenal and City are the only consistent teams thus far. So I don't see anyone else being a real challenge to them. So I feel like they can definitely make top four as long as they get into the World Cup in the right position.
Okay. And Mvu, what do you think? Do you think that there's any merit to what Thabani's saying, or do you think he's just dreaming?
Nah. But my reason for saying there's merit is probably just because I trust the coach a lot more than I would say like I back United players. And I think Ten Hag has made hard decisions and he's stuck by it. And I don't think he doesn't seem like he's had major issues. The issues have come from the press more than anything. When we see Ronaldo benching, we see Casemiro benching, but within the team, everything looks fine, So I think I do think they can make top four. I think they get it in the end, but that's more down to me just also trusting the manager and how much I do respect him. One thing I just want to touch on is just like Ronaldo. Guys, I know we've gotten to this point where like we don't, you had Ronaldo, Messi debates, but 700 club goals is insane. Like I read somewhere that I think he made his debut like over 20 years ago or 20 years ago. He's 37, about 20 years ago. But on average, he's basically scored, because of his quality now, he's basically scored about 35 goals per season for 20 years. That's insane. I hope the math is correct, but that's what I read. I don't think, in fact, not even I don't think, we know there aren't many players that can do these things. Messi is now 9 goals behind 700. Like, as for all the jokes that they've been about how old he is, like I've also said that now, like, he has to probably play a bit less, but we have to acknowledge greatness. We can't ignore the fact that this guy at 37, 38 has now scored that amount of goals, and he still looks hungry. Like, for all the slander we give him, he wants to still be playing. Like, only great players are capable of doing that, and it's not all just about getting the paper. But yeah, just credit to that guy. I don't think we appreciate, like, as football fans, what we've seen with players like him, and the two main guys, him and Messi. like what they've done. They've defied odds. Like they're old and they're still doing what they've been doing for over 15 years. It's just insane to me. Yeah.
I'm furious that this episode was going to be coming to an end on the positive notes on how great Manchester United players have been and how optimistic you guys are about United generally. I don't think United make top four. I don't think it's a bad thing that they won't. I think if they were to make top four, it would be a miracle, really. I'm sadly rather convinced by Graham Potter's Chelsea at this point in time. But you have made a very valid point. Like what we've seen from United's number 7 has been we probably won't see it again. At least not in the same way. Like the numbers required on average for what essentially a career that's almost 20 years long. It's not something that is likely to be repeated by like what he's done, what Bessie's done. And you're right, also don't appreciate like the magnitude of it all. But in closing, lads, it's been great having you all today. I thank you all for taking the time. Thabani, thank you for joining us, sir. We've missed your presence. We've missed your insight. This is what we need you for.
You know, this was super fun. You guys should have told me to hop on sooner. I can't believe you guys just let me.
Wow.
Come on, bro.
Look at this guy.
No,
Look
but
at this guy.
I will definitely be back. I think I have more hot takes to deliver. This is only the beginning, but yeah, this is super fun. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No, much appreciated. Mvu and Rindai, thank you guys as well. And to our listeners, one thing I want to leave you guys with, I was right. I told you guys. Liverpool and Spurs, that's cash money. That's easy. I know this team. I'll be offering more predictions as the season goes on. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening. This is Debates Never Die, and we'll be bringing you guys as much as possible every single week. Awesome.
Cheers. Thanks, boys.